Hi guys, welcome to our van conversion series. In this series we are converting a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van into a camper. We will be using this camper van to go on holiday with our family. In this video we will show you how we built our reversing camera in combination with our third brake light. Our Sprinter wasn't originally equipped with a third brake light, but European law states that when you convert a company van into a camper van, it becomes mandatory that you have a third brake light. However, our camper van was not equipped with a big hole on the back of the roof. And we didn't plan on cutting one. Plus, we had already bought our reversing camera, which was equipped with a reflector but not with a light. There were these edges on the reversing camera that we had already trimmed away. So even if we were ready to cut a hole in the roof of our van, this still wouldn't work. We had to come up with a plan. For our reversing camera we were inspired by a video by Virgoe, like a lot of things in the van. So we originally planned to spray paint the reflector in a black color. We had to abandon this plan because we needed the reflector for our brake light. Luckily we had a piece of 10mm foam board laying around, which we could use as a waterproof base for our brake light. We used a router to cut out the deeper gaps where we would install high-powered waterproof LED lights that we already bought for other purposes in the van. Also with the router we cut the circumference of the reflector so it would be recessed in the base. Then we cut the foam board to size with a jigsaw and we spray painted everything black. We wired and tested the LEDs and then glued them in place with a water-resistant sealant. We let it harden overnight and then we glued the camera with a red reflector in place using Sikaflex. Now this might be a good time to talk about the schematics of the reversing camera. However, I will make it brief. I will only show how we set up the camera for our particular use. For an in-depth look on how this camera works, I'll refer you to one of Virgoe's videos that I will link in the comments. He does a really great job explaining all the ins and outs of this camera. So I will just show you how I tested the camera with a simple setup on my bench, including the schematics we used. First we have the reversing camera on the back of the van. Second we have the screen of the reversing camera in front of the van. So the reversing camera in the back has these red and black wires for the 12V power. I connected these to my bench supply. Also coming out of the reversing camera is the video cable. These are the yellow connectors. To connect the reversing camera to the screen in front there's an extension cable for the video signal, which also incorporates a red cable for a power supply. The purpose of this red wire is transferring the 12V power that we got from the dashboard in the front all the way to the back to the reversing camera. So you only need one cable and one power source. Then we have the switch live wire in green. We connected this to the reversing light signal, which means if you put the van in reverse, automatically the screen of the reversing camera will activate. To achieve this we first had to find the wire that activates the reversing lights. We use this wire as the so-called switch live wire to connect to the camera. The screen of our reversing camera is meant to be clipped to the rearview mirror. However, in our van it's missing. But still we want the wiring to come down from the bulkhead to the location of the mirror. So we also had to bring the switch live wire to the bulkhead. So in the bulkhead we connected all the wires and tested the camera and it worked on the first try. And the way we connected this camera is that we can also switch on the screen whenever we want to. For this we only have to push the power button on the screen itself. So now with the camera set up and tested, it was time to install our brake light. First thing we had to do is find the wire that activated the brake light. It's actually possible to remove the brake light unit as a whole, which makes it pretty easy to determine which wire activates the brake light. We followed this wire and spliced it close to the location of the brake light. From here we ran a new wire and soldered the wires together. With the whole system tested, it was time to finish up the project and drill 2 holes in the back of the roof of the van. We cleaned the roof thoroughly and applied black Sikaflex. Then we glued the camera on and used nuts and bolts to secure it to the roof. Then we sealed the edges again with black Sikaflex. This was very secure and this should never come off. And the final touch of this project was a strange one. We were gearing up for our first trip and a lot of things in the van still had to be done. One of the things we didn't have time for was getting a new rear view mirror. So we had to improvise. We built a strange looking wooden setup to secure the screen in the dashboard instead of the rear view mirror. It isn't pretty, but it works for now. Now this concludes our video on this slightly strange way of installing a third brake light and a reversing camera. And hopefully we've shown that with a little creativity you can get a long way. It might not be the most beautiful solution, but it's functional. And in the end, that's what it's all about. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.